I spent 47 years of my life building what everyone called a dream. I had the office with the mahogany desk. I had the title that made people straighten their ties when I walked into the room. I had a bank account that grew so large, it stopped feeling like money and started feeling like a scoreboard. But standing here at 71, looking at the finish line, I realized that all that effort was a tragedy. I wasn't building a dream. I was buying a ticket to a life I never actually live. Listen closely, while there is still time. When I was young, I bought into the American equation: hard work equals success, and success equals happiness. My father was a blue-collar worker in a dusty factory. He never had enough. I remember him coming home with grease under his fingernails and a tired slump in his shoulders, counting quarters for the electric bill. I decided right then I wanted the opposite. I wanted security. I wanted to be the man who never had to count his change. I started at 24 in a high-stakes financial firm in the heart of the city. I loved the adrenaline of the trading floor. I loved the late-night coffee and the smell of expensive suits. Each promotion was a rush, a validation that I was winning the race. My wife, Sarah, supported me with a smile that I now realize was often tinged with loneliness. We told ourselves we were building for the future, not we thought we were earning time to enjoy later, as if time was something you could stack in a vault like gold bars. I was wrong. Time isn't a currency. It's a vapor. Our first son, Michael, was born during a massive multi-billion-dollar merger. I remember seeing him through the glass of the nursery and thinking, I'm doing this all for you, kid. But those first years are a fragmented blur of airport lounges and conference calls. I was providing the best life money could buy, but I wasn't there to actually see him live it. I missed his first steps because I was in Tokyo. I missed his first word because I was closing a deal in London. By my 30s and 40s, the pressure doubled. We had a second child, Emily. More bills meant a greater need for that phantom security. I worked longer. I traveled more. I saw my children's lives in strobe light flashes. First teeth, first words, school plays, all caught in the frantic gaps between business trips. I compensated with the most expensive toys, the latest gadgets, and luxury vacations to islands where the sand was white and the water was clear. But even on those beaches, I was the man in the shade with a laptop on his knees. Sarah tried to warn me. She would sit me down after the kids went to bed and tell me that Michael was becoming a stranger, that Emily stopped asking when Daddy was coming home. I got angry. I pointed at our beautiful house and the cars in the driveway. I told her she didn't understand the crushing pressure of being the provider. I told her she should be grateful for the life I gave her. That was the cold, hollow arrogance of my ambition. I eventually became a senior executive. I had the power to move markets. But every step up that corporate ladder made the air thinner and the view lonelier. My colleagues and I never talked about our hearts or our regrets. We talked about margins and acquisitions. We treated our families like logistics to be managed rather than souls to be nourished. At 55, I reached the absolute top. I had the mansion on the hill, the vintage cars, and a permanent seat on the board. And that's when I felt it, the empty, golden void. It wasn't a sharp sadness. It was a profound, quiet absence of joy. I looked at my adult children during holiday dinners and saw a canyon between us that no amount of money could bridge. At Michael's graduation, I realized I was just Mr. Miller, the executive, to his friends, a shadow in his life. At Emily's wedding, a ceremony I spent a fortune on to make perfect, I watched her dance with her mother and realized she wasn't bonding with me. She was bonding with the person who had actually been present for her feverish nights and her heartbreak. The money I thought was the currency of happiness was actually the currency of distance. I bought them comfort, but I sold them my presence, and that is a debt you can never truly repay. The turning point didn't come from a heart attack or a market crash. It came from a quiet Saturday morning when Sarah got sick. It wasn't fatal, but it was enough to make the world stop turning for a moment. For the first time in 40 years, I stayed home on a Tuesday. I sat by her bed and just watched her breathe. We talked about nothing, the way the light hit the curtains, the memories of our first cheap apartment, the dreams we had before the money got in the way. I realized in those quiet hours that she never once mentioned my career or my bank account. She talked about the times we laughed until we cried. She talked about the small things I had forgotten. I cried that night, not because I was afraid of losing her, but because of the decades of us that I had traded for a title. I started calling my children, not to give them advice or check their portfolios, but just to listen. At first, there was silence. They didn't know how to talk to me. But slowly, the walls I had spent a lifetime building began to crumble. I realized that the someday I was working for, the day when I would finally stop and be happy, had already passed me by while I was looking at a spreadsheet. Today, at 71, I sit in a house that is too big for two people, surrounded by things I once thought were essential. Here is the truth that took me 47 years and a lifetime of missed dinners to learn. Your time is the only thing you own that is non-renewable. You can lose $1 million and make it back by next year. You can lose a job and find a better one, but you cannot get back the Tuesday afternoon when your daughter wanted to show you a drawing. You cannot get back the decade your parents grew old while you were too busy to visit. We are a society programmed to delay our lives. We wait for the next promotion, the next house, the next milestone, thinking that happiness is a destination we reach once we've suffered enough. But life doesn't give refunds for unused time. Stop waiting for someday. Someday is a graveyard for dreams. Look at the people you love right now. They aren't obstacles to your success. They are the only reason success matters. I would give every single cent I have, every award, every board seat, just for one more day of being truly, deeply present when my kids were small. I would trade it all to be the father who was there rather than the executive who provided. But I can't. That door is locked. But you still have the key. If you are in your 20s, 30s, or 50s, listening to the voice of an old man who won the race but lost his soul, don't wait. Don't wait until your body gives up or your house is empty to wake up. Call your parents today. Sit on the floor and play with your children until your back aches. Take that trip you've been putting off because of a deadline. Say, "I love you," until it feels normal again. The greatest wealth you will ever possess isn't what you accumulate in a vault. It's the collection of moments you were actually awake for. Build a life you don't need a vacation from. Invest in people, not just portfolios. Do it now, while the sun is still up. Do it now, while there is still time.